Hello, folks. Rever here with not an episode of Farm Sim, but an episode of Air Hauler 2. And I just thought maybe some of you'd be interested in it. I think it takes a similar personality to flights to Farm Sim that you might like Flight Sim. Not sure if you've ever played Flight Sim. This is an add-on to the front end of it that so far for me has made it much more interesting. What it does, the thrust of it. Oops, why is that disagreeing with me? Oh, because I had that thing open. Let me close that. This is from a previous attempt at recording. I'm not sure how well this is going to go. I don't want all of my Steam account information out. Or not that you'd have all of it out, but keep my privacy. Thank you. Not that I wouldn't trust 95% of you. It's that other 5% might be an issue. So in any event, you can pick different jobs. You can build different bases. So you can say, I only have a base in Philadelphia, which is the airport that literally, when we land on the runway, will fly over where I work, even though they don't actually have that building. But it's pretty cool to be. I mean, I watch planes land all day long if I'm outside, which I'm not usually. So in any event, I picked this one. I have a pilot. So if we come to company information, Robert Arrowsmith, and he is flying, he's loading cargo, except for 89 shrimp, or 89 pounds of shrimp, and he is going to fly that all the way up to somewhere way up in Canada. Where's the jobs thing? Let's go back to that. Accept the jobs. See this little, I don't know if you can see that little line. He's going way, he's going to take some shrimp, seafood, all the way up to these people that live on the ice pack. I guess that's land there, but it's sort of like, we'll see how well that goes. Good for him. And hopefully he'll make me some money doing it. I'm only going to make $21,000. I want to make $27,000 for going a shorter distance with some cosmetics. So we'll take a look at that one. Oh, that's changed. By the way, these guys, I've just bought the game earlier this week. They've updated it twice. I had an issue with when I went to click and fly now. It wasn't going to Steam. Customer service was very responsive and friendly. So they're definitely still working on this, even though it's early access. I think from what I've gathered, they have a pretty big community with air hauler people. So, or just the flight sim people in general. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit fly now. You can see we're going to take this to Findlay, Ohio in my Grand Caravan. I have plenty of range. You can't really count that, but it's just asking you to pick a plane, which I only have the one besides the one carrying the shrimp. Hold on one second. Sorry, had to get that cough out. So they're asking me if I wanted to load anything else. Like I could load the rest of his shrimp, but I'm not flying up there. I'll just see what kind of penalties. You can load more fuel. You could take off fuel. Like if, I have a good amount of fuel on there, 1,500 pounds, which is really kind of too much, but I'm not sure what happens if I offload it. See, that's loading it. Oh, you know what? I have... Why is it? Oh, 4 pounds I could put on. Anyway, you get the idea. I'm not really an expert on this. There's other better videos to show you how to do it, but I thought I'd show you how to. I don't know if it's cheaty, but a quick, easy way to do a flight. I enjoy the realism of it, but much like my farm sim, I kind of cut corners. So I'm going to click OK. And that's going to bring up this. And this is where we're actually going to create a flight plan that's going to be used in, let's try ramp 3. It's going to be used in flying to our destination. And it's going to be used in Flight Simulator. So we're going to do IFR. I guess 8,000 feet is fine. I really don't know why you would fly lower or higher other than, planes tend to fly as high as they can. I don't really know. I know my prop can be feathered. I don't really know what the benefit of doing that is. but I'm learning, and that's part of the fun of it. So I thought it might even be good to be shown by somebody who doesn't know that much. Sometimes these guys know so much they're confusing because they get into every little detail of it. So I accepted it, and now it's waiting, and this is where my video has fouled up the last couple times. So what I'm going to do is, once this says, see it's saying ready, now it says waiting to connect. So what that means is I have to open up my Steam. So I'm going to cut the recording for a second, and then just so you guys can't see my Steam page, and then go from there. So hold on for 1 minute. I'm going to need to open the OBS, and I'm back. So get rid of the OBS, and you see Flight Simulator's open. All it was just like a little pop-up that when you open your Steam page, you know, your desktop app, it, you know, it asks you if it's okay to start Flight Sim with this file. So then what it's going to do is pop us down at Philadelphia International Airport, which is KPHL. That I know just from life. There's many other of these initials. I don't know many of them. Eventually you start figuring out, you know, what to do with it. If you're confused right at the bat, like this is a mouse cursor where I can push buttons. If I hit the space bar or the button on my joystick, it lets me look around. So this is some kind of a building. Not sure what it represents, but another thing that you can do is hit Shift and then the number keys, and it brings up different instruments. So this is Shift 1 brings up the main thing. This brings up like your nav stuff. I know there's ways you can, like, I think it's what, see these buttons? Oops, so hit that button like I said. Power, yeah, see, I'm not really sure. I've never even tried. We could turn the battery on. Oh, yeah, look at that, there we go. Fuel boost, I guess that would be a good thing to have, huh? Don't really know. Reset, generator. And it looks on. Generator off, on. Well, we would want ignition on, I would think. This protected button, I don't know what that is. Yeah, we want avionics. Yeah, it's the first time I ever started a plane. By the way, you can just hit Control E. Let's see if that... I gotta do something more. Oh, I missed the flying tip. I wasn't looking up there. Sure if I have to do something else or not. Well, you can also hit Control E, if I didn't mention that. Yeah, so I'm going to learn more about how to play the game properly, and certainly will play it properly at times. A little bit of a hard game not to play somewhat properly. But a big thing to know is that the tilde key, the one above the tab, will bring up this. I usually just put it right up in here. It doesn't block my view. It's kind of cool. You can click right through it. So you have different buttons that you might need to hit on the screen at different times. So the other thing I have is Shift 2, or you can hit this over here, like these buttons. This will bring it. What did that do? Out of the map. We don't want that. Okay, so you hit the map. We don't want that. Radio stack is what they're calling this thing. There's your map. What was this one? Oh, that's that ATC window. There's your GPS, which is going to be very useful. Notice how it already has this loaded in there from... This is from the flight plan. When I put IFR flight plan, it means it automatically loaded this flight plan. They're going to expect me to contact Philadelphia clearance and the tower. So this ATIS, I like to try to type in the numbers myself. You can only do it, this is your comm radio. So I'm going to go to, could have gone the other way, 33.4. 0. I'd like to say 0 in this game. And then you hit this button here to... Now you hear that guy talking, I hope. And I'm not sure how the sound is. We'll just have to live with it. And the next thing I'm going to do is actually do this. So see, I could just click this and it switches around. I don't really pay that much attention to the weather. The biggest thing you need to know is maybe that altimeter reading, but that's my altimeter. I could bring that down, but that hasn't really changed much. I expect it to change much more. So it just tells you all the stuff you need to know about the airport, but to be honest, you don't really need all that to get started. I mean, as you learn it, you'll be fine. And one of the things, though, now that we're tuned in to this 18.1, and we can type it in here, and we can, like if I do go put that other one, 33, see, watch, I can go back down around. I keep forgetting to do that. And that 0.4. So you see, you can switch back and forth. So if you know what your next signal is that you want to get to, you can always put it in there and just leave this one in. We're going to request IFR clearance.
Landmark 1123, IFR Kilo Foxtrot Delta Yankee, ready to copy. Landmark 1123 is cleared to Kilo Foxtrot Delta Yankee, airport as filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain 8,000. Departure frequency is 124.35, squawk 7755.
So this is my squawk box down here. So I want to type it 775. Oops, what happened there? 7755. So that's what you send off to them so that they know what your altitude is or something like that. Oh, please acknowledge it. Yeah, I hate acknowledging them. It's just like an annoyance of mine that I forget to do.
Airport as filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain 8,000.
So right here, I'm going to go put in that 24.35.
Make that correct. Contact ground on 121.65.
So basically, depending on which runway I get assigned.
Clearance delivery. Pacifica 948, ready to copy IFR clearance to Vancouver. Pacifica 948 is cleared to Vancouver.
Yeah, they do talk a lot sometimes. So that's not for us. So I'm going to talk over them. But so because I filed for 8,000 feet, they're going to tell me it's fine to go out on 8,000 feet. I'm not really ready for them. But what I will do is come here, bring that up to here. And then I'm going to say, because I'm fully loaded, I'm just going to start this. I know this plane a little bit. I'm just going to start trying to go up at 800 feet per second, or not per second, that would be like a rocket, feet per minute. So we'll see how that goes if it doesn't work out. But I like to have this all set up because I want to hit this altitude, and this stands for autopilot. And then the other thing to do is, when I first start out, I like to go out on a heading. So it sort of depends on which runway they give me. But a lot of times I'll put this heading thing into here. See this little thing here? That's like right now I would fly north, is what that's telling me. I'll show you that in a minute. So what I need to do now is contact Philadelphia ground. And since it's easier than changing that departure number, and again, I do cut corners, I'm just going to click that. So now what I did was, the ground control are the people that tell you, how to taxi. So
Philadelphia ground, landmark 1.
If you see, he's talking to me, or I'm talking to him, I should say.
Landmark 1123, taxi 2 and hold short of runway 26 via taxiway Delta Alpha, runway 8 Alpha 1. Contact tower on 120.425 when ready.
So this is where I acknowledge the taxi.
Taxi 2 and hold short runway 26 via taxiway Delta Alpha, runway 8 Alpha 1. Landmark 1123.
So what they're saying is, like, this is ground, then the tower is the one that like kind of controls who's taking off and who's landing, and then departure is like the guy you get after you get up in the air a little bit. So what I'm actually going to do is, because I know this over here, 124.35 is the departure, I'm going to switch that real quick, and I still see it over on this side. I point with my finger, 20.45. So even if you forget what he said, you got it right there, you got it here. So we're going to put in that 20.45, no, 425. So you can't do that, so you just try the closest one. So there we go. So now we're Oh wait, we're not on the ground. 21.65. What did I do? Was I at ground? No, I'm at 21. Oh, I see. 20.45. Oh, that's right. When I'm ready. I'm not ready. So the game kind of, so see how it sort of leads you, like 20.45. Oh, I'm sorry, 4, 2. So the game does sort of lead you. See how, you know, it's not really even letting me go to that one quite yet. So anyway, we need to taxi. Why can't I? I'm messing this all up, aren't I? Yeah, so see this turn progressive taxi? I guess I might have to stay in there. I was trying to get too far ahead of myself. I'm also going to get rid of this screen because it blocks so much of my view, and I can get rid of this one. And I'm not going to be talking to them for a minute, but if you notice, they're saying take DA to runway 8. We don't even have to worry about that since we don't really know what we're doing. What we do have to do is hit the period button, which it says right in the bottom left. And that takes off my parking brakes. And I want to hit this so I can do that job there. And I want to get rid of that compass. There you go. So now we're ready to taxi out there. There's no way you can go backwards in an airplane if you didn't guess that. So I have to go forward. And I'm just going to use my joystick to turn until I can see something. It's taxi and takeoff. Good advice. So hopefully there's not another plane. Sometimes there's like a whole row of planes sitting here. We don't want to get going too fast. We got some kind of ugly truck there. So remember it said DA, like if I pop this open, so go DA. So see how that sign out ahead of us says D? I figured out that much so far. That again.
Philadelphia ground, orbit 5207, taxi to the gate. Orbit 5207, taxi to 8 Delta 8, using taxiway November.
That's D1, so we're going to take this.
Taxiing to 8 Delta 8.
So see, you can kind of figure it out just from
Orbit 5207.
From that, but there's this other thing. Yeah, let's get pointed in the right direction. See that yellow lines in front of me, like these arrows? You guys can see them over the dashboard that way. Let me get alongside them a little bit. You don't want to go too fast. Certainly don't need to take off. See those lines that are right off to the right or the left there? So, alright, so we're going to head where they say. And again, you can, one thing I'll show you, let's turn down the throttle. I've got a little ways to go. Hit shift 1, and then I'm going to hit this knee board. Oops. See how I can't point? Shift 1, get my view back. Now, but see this knee board thing? And here's the briefing. So we can come down to Philadelphia, and they want us to take off on 26. And I found to make this a little bit wider, and you can see there's 26. So I don't really know where we're at. If we come down a little bit more, there's another one of these. And see all these, well, that's the one end. See this D here? I don't know if you guys can see something, but anyway, this map here will show you, you know, where to go to. So I think I'm all the way down this end. So I'm going to go down D, and we're going to end up making a left up here. All right, let's get moving again so this video doesn't take 3 years. It doesn't hurt to go a little fast, but this thing doesn't turn like a race car. And you could really just follow those arrows. You don't need to even worry about it too much. But it makes it kind of easy on you. And to be honest, you don't even like the first few things I flew, I didn't even do all of this stuff. I just sort of like they put me on the runway and I just took off. I didn't listen to ground control. I didn't manage not to hit any other planes. There's really not that many of them in the game. I mean, they're enough to be noticeable, but certainly I don't feel that it's anywhere near the volume that's in real life. Again, I'm near this airport. I see them lined up at times. And I haven't noticed any kind of oh yeah, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So there you see A2, 26 over there. So we're coming up. Now this one, let's make sure there's nothing. They also kind of help you by telling you what you're going to need to say. So there's really nothing that I need to say on that little screen right there. And this runway, you have to actually go onto the runway for this. This is Philadelphia's like small airplane runway. So you're pretty much,
Philadelphia ground orbit 5776.
yeah. So you listen out. I'm landmark 1123. I'm not sure how I get that name, but I wonder if I can change it. It has nothing to do with the names I put in there. Yeah, see, that was, by the way, that was the best I could turn. We don't want to get too much speed going. I was about to turn around down here. It's kind of hard to actually turn in the width of the runway. So I don't know. I mean, you go on the grass, I haven't really noticed that much difference, but maybe it could hurt your plane. They do give you a damage rating, and it does cost you money to repair your plane. So if we bring this down hard, we'll be in tough shape. Go into this little turnaround thingy for A1. By the way, did you notice that this line stopped? I'm not sure why it does that, because I think I don't know. They told me to go to A1. I can see it right up there in that chat. All right, let's slow down. See, this is where you would normally come and then contact them again. So let's see if they bring up shift 2. Okay, we need to get to 20.425. Alright, so see, now that I switched over to well, now it's saying 21.65, so something's out. I want takeoff clearance, that's why I switched to that.
Philadelphia Tower, landmark 1123, ready to go. Runway 26, IFR to Kilo, Foxtrot, Delta, Yankee. Landmark 1123, clear for takeoff. Runway 26.
So they're saying I'm free to go, and then you have to acknowledge it, or else did you hear what I said?
1123.
You'll hear that maybe even a couple more times. Okay. So I'm going to stay with this radio, but they said I'm cleared. I guess if you were being proper, you could look, make sure there's actually not any planes coming, but I am going to trust him with my life. And we're going to get rid of this, and we're going to get rid of this. Now the big thing you need to do, and usually I even do it before this if I'm not talking, is put your flaps, which is hit F7. Let's try to get it kind of straight down the runway. And we'll stop for a minute and I'll show you this. Oops, not that. I do like this up there though. Stick this at the top of the screen. And I want this one. So see how my flaps right there say 20? Like if I hit F6, they go up 1, 15, or I'm sorry, 10, 20. So this is how much you want for takeoff. And let me get rid of that and this, like this. If you come to this book, in this checklist, it will tell you some of that kind of stuff, like how to take off and different planes and stuff. But in the meantime, we're sitting on the runway holding up traffic, so I'd like to give it like, a good amount of throttle, especially because I'm fully loaded. But just sort of make sure I'm going straight down the runway, before I even give it the full throttle, which I just did. So here we go. I find we want to get up to a speed of about 80, and I need to correct a little bit. As you get up speed, sometimes it starts to move on you. Just turn your wheel that way a bit if you can. Sometimes it doesn't seem to help. And we're getting low on runway, but we're also getting up to about 80. And I'll rotate. And I'm not sure if this is all proper. And we're going to get up. You don't want to climb too high at first because you kind of want to get your airspeed up. Once you know you're flying, see how we're getting up to 90? I'm going to hit F5, which is going to fully retract my flaps. And then I'm going to hit Shift 2. Come down here. I'm going to say altitude, AP, which means turn on the autopilot. Come on, buddy.
500.
Yep, come on, buddy. He seems to need to reset himself somehow there. I was real ready to turn the autopilot off. So he should start trying to climb. Let's go to this view because it sort of gives you the better view of what's happening. Get rid of this screen so you guys can see. So see, we're climbing slowly. We're still just at, now we're at 500 feet. If I switch the, whoops.
123, contact Philadelphia departure on 124.35.
So now that I'm up in the air, I'm going to acknowledge the handoff.
4.35 for landmark 1123.
So I'm going to go to, see, I already had it programmed in there. And then once I switch it, it says contact.
Departure, landmark 1123 is climbing through 800 for 8,000. World travel 1421, contact Philadelphia approach sun 126.85. Landmark 1123, Philadelphia departure, roger. Altimeter 29901, 227. Contact Harrisburg approach sun 124.1.
So she's kind of busy right now. Yep, see here, they're saying I expected this. So she's giving me an altitude of, or a heading of 295. So I'm going to come over to this little knob here. So that's 295. So I'm going to switch it all the way over. Oops, too far. So this is pretty close to it. And then I'm going to switch this over to heading and watch how my plane just turns. I don't know if you can see over here. You can see in the artificial horizon that it's turning.
Landmark 1123.
Oh yeah, see what I mean? She just wants me to acknowledge her. It's like a lot of people have known. Just want to be acknowledged.
Landmark 1123. Landmark 1123. Traffic at 6 o'clock. 4 miles. 900. Boeing 737. Report them in sight.
Well, we don't want to hit a 737, do we? 4 o'clock. I'm sorry, 6 o'clock. Well, guys, I'm not going to see that. I mean, how am I going to see something out the back of my plane? Traffic, not. You can't.
5776 Philadelphia departure, roger. Altimeter 29901.
Kind of annoying because they talk so much. You can't. Sometimes you can't acknowledge them, and then they yell at you for not acknowledging them. There you go. So I say I acknowledge that traffic's not in sight. And so that's for orbit. So we're on the heading that they want us to be on. And then the next thing we'll do is, because she doesn't shut up, does she? It's not so bad when you're not trying to talk on a video. And I hope that's coming through sound-wise. So you can see they, try to take you off on a runway that's pointing in the direction that you want to go. And, at that point, we're pretty close to this line. So I hit F3, and that brings up the GPS. Because this guy's like right in here, and this is all set up, what I can do is, let's get rid of that. I just wanted to make sure that I was on a similar path. I guess they might yell at you if you didn't follow it. There's really no hurry to do this. But I'm going to switch this from nav to GPS. Nav is this thing up here. That's pretty much how we'll do the landing if it's an instrument landing. Other than that, I'm not going to use that much. But because I switched it to GPS, this is heading. So there's my heading, that little orange thing there. So what I'm going to do is switch this to nav, and that says, okay, fly.
Orbit 5776. Contact New York Center on 135.45.
Fly what the GPS says here, Now she may yell at me for doing this, and it's kind of turning a little drastic because it wants to put you right on this little pink line. But that is the path you chose, so I'm not sure. Again, it's a video game. Not sure if a real pilot can say something as to what that is. Well, there we go. And believe it or not, this plane will fly itself now the entire way to Findlay, Ohio. And the one thing I'm noticing, climb speed, I don't mind if that was a little bit like this. I don't mind losing a little bit of speed to get up to my cruise altitude. I don't seem to be having a problem right now. So I am going to just bump this up a little bit. So that's 1,000 feet. So it's going to try to climb. Now, when you do any of these maneuvers, I like to leave this open. I can kind of see my altitude, but I can see this more than anything, which is the vertical speed, how fast I'm going up, and it's close to 1,000. That's feet per minute. And it really didn't take off. Well, we're still losing a little bit of speed, but we're at full throttle, which we can damp back on, I guess, at some point here. So we're using over 4 gallons of fuel, I guess. I guess that's gallons. 416 pph, pounds per hour. So we're using, well, that's not so bad, is it? Oh, times 100. Oh yeah, 400. That's a good amount of fuel. So if we can cut that back and still get good flight, like I think this plane says like the regular cruise speed should be about 400. So I usually get it between, not 400, 140 and 150. But that's it, we're flying. And I'm, you know, unless they tell me to do something different, this is, you know, how it gets. Now R plus and R minus, if you can see way up in the top right, that doubled, you know, like sped things up. For now, I'm just going to hold off on doing that while we're recording. I don't want to cause any problems.
Altimeter 2992, orbit 8914, you are 15 miles southeast, turn right heading 335, descend and maintain 1,900, cleared ILS, runway 3.
Yeah, it'll be nice when we get away from Philadelphia departure. You know, they don't talk the entire time on every channel. So there we go, and you can change the range here, and there's a bunch about this GPS thing. Let's go up to 200 miles, 350 miles, there you go, 500 miles, so that's where we're going right there. And you can see there's the state of Pennsylvania, this is north, there's north. So there's Pennsylvania and there's Ohio. So there you go. So I'm going to see if I can cut this video without actually crashing anything. It seems like I have to have the OBS up. So I'm going to hit pause. Let's see. Can I hit this button? Yes, I can. Let me hit this and just say goodbye to you for a second. And when we start getting close to the landing, I will be back. Well, guys, I'm back. Let me see if this works. Alright, I'm in the plane. Yep, I have sound. I hope you have sound. I have no idea how this video quality's going. But let me get rid of this real quick. He just gave me an instruction to turn to heading 255. So this kind of makes it easy. So he said turn left to 255. So there's 24. Move that little thing over. He might yell at me if I don't do it fast enough. Yeah, see how he's expedite. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to switch that over to heading. Plane's going to turn. See, he yelled at me. And that was partially because I was doing 4 times speed to get to this point. So I may be a little bit early. You can see I'm cruising at 240 or 145. Geez. But I cut down on my fuel usage, so certainly more efficient. When I was at full throttle, I was only doing 150. So, you know, with a full plane, you can see here's my fuel gauge. I used a fair amount of the fuel I started out with. And I'm just sort of cruising along. Like I said, I don't see any reason why you can't go maybe faster than 4 times speed.
Traffic is 10 o'clock, 4 miles at 6,000. Piper Archer, report them in sight.
So I'll talk about what, yeah, these guys just aren't going to shut up. And they really were quiet while I was zooming through nowhere. See, now he's probably going to come. See, I might be that Cessna Caravan. 8500.
4164, traffic
Nah, see, that's not me. It must be another Cessna Caravan. But anyway, he said turn left heading 255, expect vectors, which means expect him to tell me what to do. So he's vectoring me to the runway, and expect a visual on runway 36. So if we come over here, we can come down. Oh, that's the wrong one. Briefing. We can come down. That's Philadelphia. Mission briefing.
Board 164, traffic alert, 12 o'clock, less than 1 mile, 6,000. Piper, Archer, report them
There's
inside.
the.
Piper, 22, Mike, traffic alert.
Oh, there it
6
is.
o'clock, less than 1 mile, 8,000.
That's the other end of Philadelphia.
Cessna Caravan, report them inside.
See, those two are about to hit traffic alerts and all that stuff. That's what they're talking about. So there's some, you can listen to the radio chatter.
Piper, Archer, inside.
But we can't get anything on here. I'm not sure why. They're mentioning these runways. See Findlay, but we don't have a map, so it just must be, it's a small airport. It doesn't have any control or anything, so he'll give me instructions as I get closer. But since I don't have anything there, I've learned that I can come over to my nav system. I need to get rid of that. And see, he's flying me out this way to come in on runway 26. So I hit this outer button here. That's not the right one. Oh, that's right. I need to put in. So I'll push this button, and I'll push the inside one, and I want to go to KF. Let's do K first. Outer button, inner dial. Okay. When you get closer, you can just select it, and I might even be able to select it, but it's not like I got that much else to do. I'll show you how this works. KFD.
American Pacific 6017.
So there's Findlay.
Contact Akron and
And I'll push that cursor thing.
Enter.
Are you kidding me? Let's see if I can hit this
Going to
years.
118.6, American Pacific
Push that. There's
6017.
the outer one. KMFD. Nah, see, I'm not close enough. After all that. Alright, let's go back. Here. Inner one. So, okay. And hit the enter button when you're done. Not the easiest one to put in. Some have less selections. There you go. I hit enter. So now I should be able to push this. And so we have this Findlay Airport, and you get this inner button, I think. Yeah, lower one. So there's the two runways. So he wants to bring me in on runway 36. So it's going to be north-south. So that you could actually select it here if it was like an ILS, which means instrument approach. And you really can be pretty relaxed about it because he's going to tell you when he wants you to turn. So there's not a whole lot to know about this. Well, there's a lot to know about it, but we know we're coming in. 36 means 360 degrees, due north. So we're going to land on the runway going due north. Come over. Oops, the inner one. See, if they had ILS, it would tell you that kind of stuff here. This stuff means things and stuff to people that are more knowledgeable than I am about it. But anyway, I'm going to use this, and we get an idea. Let me zoom in. I'm not sure why he's got me going 255. Yeah, and I'm on 255. See. Oh, by the way, let me show you this too. Get rid of that for a second. Get rid of this. See this compass? It doesn't work. See, it's pointing on 30. That was messing me up for a little while. But anyway, you end up using this an awful lot. But I am kind of curious if we look here. Why is he sending me? He wants me to, oh, because this way is north. I'm heading west. So he's bringing me in. I bet you when we get like over to this area, he'll have me turn going this way. I'll turn left to something. And I bet you'll even say something like left 360. But there's some cool things about the airplanes. And this flight, you know, isn't the best one because I don't have an ILS approach, but I just wanted to show you how they'll, you know, he'll just tell me exactly where I need to go. This thing like lines up with the runway if it was turned on. You gotta put it in like here. You put it in, see this is nav 1. Put it in here and then you switch it over. Yeah. So that's how that works. So we're really just waiting on his next signal. Which, like I said, it's going to take a few minutes here. Probably could even get away with hitting R plus. Speed it up a tiny bit since I am recording. So it'll go a lot faster if you do that.
Beach 7 Fort Romeo. Contact Toledo approach. 120.8. Pacifica 4946. Contact Cleveland approach. 135.875 for Pacifica 4946. Mansfield approach. Cessna November. Cessna November 6736 Quebec. Mansfield approach. Roger. Altimeter 2992.
Yeah, they don't stop as soon as I start recording, do they? Alright.
Turn right heading 285.
So he's going to bring me in a little bit closer, so we got to get rid of this. Now I'm going to take this guy, turn right, gives you a hint.
Landmark 1123. Did you hear my last transmission?
Oh yeah, I heard you.
Landmark 1123. Turn right heading 285.
I'm going to slow down to regular speed, buddy, so you don't get so upset at me so quick.
Turn right heading 285. Descend and maintain.
Alright, so now we have to descend.
Landmark 1123.
So we've got to turn. See how I turn my heading?
Contact Dayton approach.
And then he wants me to go down, so I'm going to hit this, bring this down to 2800. Oops, 0. Pretty bad. Yeah, the thing starts jumping after you click it a while. I'm sure that's... So we're going to go down at 1,000 feet. So we got to watch this speed. See how the speed's climbing? So I'm going to cut this engine down pretty good. Yeah, yeah, we're dropping, buddy. See, if you don't do what they say, they tell you to expedite it. Yeah, you can take it as seriously as you want, but I try to follow the instructions. So even though we're going down pretty good, we're still losing speed, which is okay, because you really don't want to come in that fast. When it comes to these landings, you really kind of want to be slow, so to speak. Not too slow, but you don't want to come in there at full speed, full throttle. That's how I wrecked my first plane. There's a plane out there. You see him behind my Beechcraft 5.8. Alright, so let's get rid of this for a second. Oops, wrong one. That, so you can see my altitude's dropping away. If we get rid of this, well, let's look at this real quick. So that means that airplane's going to, or the airport's going to be off to my right somewhere. You know, it's a little bit hokey because you kind of pick them out a little bit easier, I think, in this game than you might in real life. Not sure. It might be something right up there, but that might just be water. Maybe that might help. Yeah, so he doesn't quite have me lined up with the runway yet. Yeah, that Beach Baron, 6.6. So he's at 8,400 feet, so we're dropping down below him. And that might have been one of the reasons. I don't know, they might just yell at you because they like to, but he also might have been dropping me because I'll be close to that Beechcraft, maybe. Not sure how sophisticated the game is as far as ground control and all goes. So we're doing a nice 135. We could probably, you know, up the speed a little bit, but Not a real big reason to do that. And yeah, you can see we're heading 283 true, but if you, yeah, we could probably, I might be off a little bit on this thing. Let's see, so we turn it a tiny bit more. Let's see what this says now. See, we're turning around a little bit, 285. We should settle in right there, but we're heading towards the north-south runway. Just cut the corner off here a little bit. Said it's going to be up what, 1 or 2 o'clock. Can we see it now? Well, it's 23 miles. That'd be kind of a stretch. It's going to be right over there somewhere. One thing we can do is let's zoom this thing in. So there's 35. I think we get it down to 20. You know what? That might be that little lake. See that little lake right there, right by the 33? Might be that. We'll see. He'll have us turning pretty soon. Yeah, so we're 20 miles out, nautical miles, which I guess is a little more than a regular mile. Down. Are we at altitude yet? No, we're still falling. We're actually still up at like 4,500. So that's another thing to, you know, if you're going to do this, you do want to get ahead of your descent. You know, you don't want to be too high as you're approaching the airport. You're almost better off coming in lower than higher. The idea is to hit the ground. And one of the big things about airplanes is you really, as you go up higher, you store up more energy. And as you're lower to the ground, as we're falling, you know, we had a lot more energy when we were up higher. That we could turn that energy into miles per hour, knots per hour, whatever. But at this point, by descending, you know, we got the throttle turned off, so we're just sort of using the drag of the airplane to keep a pretty steady speed and just bleed off this extra energy. I like to leave this up because I don't always pay attention to what they're saying, and I can read it. You do, I can see where you do get used to listening. Like as soon as I hear landmark 11, you know, I know that means me. And they've keep giving me that same call tag for some reason every time. Yeah, I bet you that's that lake out there. It almost certainly is. I don't know if you guys can see what I mean, but if you play the actual game, you probably can.
Landmark 1123, understand, cancel IFR, please confirm.
What? Oh, I hit the wrong damn button.
Landmark 1123, turn left, heading 280, descend and maintain 2,800. Turn left, heading 280, descend and maintain 2,800. Landmark 1123.
So, see, he wants us to turn left again, so let's bring this guy back up. Get rid of that one. A little bit of a pain, you gotta do that. So turn left, heading 280, which isn't much of a turn. So 270 is dead west, so I think that's going to be 280 right there. Yep, and there we are, 280. Now this thing moves backwards, kind of, but we're pretty much heading the way he wants. He should be happy with us. Yeah, and I'm still descending, buddy. I'm doing the best I can. Well, not the best I can, but I'm descending. See how now that we're getting down to 2,800, look how we're losing airspeed. So I want to bring up, whenever you're doing a maneuver, you really want to kind of pay attention to your airspeed. And I just want to get it back up to around 120. We could probably leave it down that low, but we're still a fair ways out from the runway there. I don't want it to take 3 years to get there. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking of even breaking this off into 2 parts. Beginning session and part A and part B. But we'll see how long it ends up. There we go. Jack the throttle back down now that we're up to speed. You can just, if you get more familiar with the plane, just a little bit. Let's bring it back up. Takes these engines a little bit to react. It's a pretty big engine. So all the planes are a little bit different, which is pretty cool. So we are at 2800. Where has he got us on here? I don't know why he had us turn further west. There we go. At 120 miles an hour. It's good speed. You know, we're fairly low now. If you look out the window, get rid of that. And if you're not doing a video, you don't have to. So we're a lot lower than we were, if you can tell. See the runway? Yeah, it's going to be almost just north of us. Kind of facing north now. And this is kind of like what it's like in a real plane. Your view is really not as good as you would think. I mean, it's not bad, but...
Landmark 1123. Contact Toledo approach on 120.8.
So now he just told me to contact Toledo approach on 120.8. Okay, that was easy enough. No. So yeah, I'm not real good at this. 120.8. I never did acknowledge him. Guess we'll get on with his day. 120.8.
Going to 120.8. Landmark 1123.
He should be all happy. Alright, I'm getting a little bit confused. Contact Toledo approach 120.8. Tune to Toledo. Contact
Toledo approach. Landmark 1123 with you 2800. Landmark 1123. Toledo approach. Roger. Altimeter 2992. Landmark 1123. Turn right heading 335.
There we go. That's what I was waiting for. So 335. So see, they're going to get us 3, that looks like 335. So see how they're just turning the plane right around for me?
Landmark 1123.
Okay, I'm
Turn
sorry.
right heading 335. Landmark 1123.
Alright, so now if we look at shift 3, get rid of shift 2. See how he's turning us right up. You know, again, cutting the corner off a little bit more, bringing us in for like a big loop to the south of the place. When I first started playing, I just followed the GPS right there, and then I'd do my own thing, so to speak. But I think this is more realistic to how, you know, most flights are going to go. And he's going to have us turn again to the right to probably 360, like I said. Again, we're cutting the corner off if you look at it that way. And again, this airport doesn't have any ILS. We can remember we looked over here. Oops, here, and I could just tell because it would have like listed runways and their frequency. And then what you do is put that frequency into this thing up here, and that would start turning on gauges and stuff. So it's really not that hard. I mean, though, I have to admit, there's a lot of buttons and knobs and stuff that I had to figure out watching videos or whatever. But it's been fun. I mean, I kind of knew him from before. Just, I never really got into the whole navigation. Because, again, there wasn't, you know, I was more into barrel rolls, I guess you could say. Then there wasn't really any point to flying to Findlay, Ohio.
Landmark 1123. Airport is at your 1 o'clock. 11 miles. Turn right heading 005. Report runway inside.
So we're at 11 miles.
1123. Turn right heading 035. Turn right heading 035. Landmark
So
1123.
035 is going to be right there. Jumped up to it.
On 124.2.
And then we want to get rid of this.
124.2.
And we're going to get rid of this and this. Oh, that's the wrong one. That one. We don't want that one. We don't want that one. So they're saying report runway in sight. So what I'm going to do now is basically turn off my autopilot because, see the little red, I'm going to get rid of this. See that little red dot? That's the runways in sight.
Landmark 1123, I have the runway in sight. Landmark 1123, you are 900 miles south, descend and maintain 2,800, cleared visual, runway 36, approach, switch to advisory on 122.725.
Switch to advisory, so acknowledge clearance.
2,800, cleared visual, runway 36.
So what this means is,
that's
just me talking to him.
Landmark 1123.
So what we're going to do is tune the radio to that, and then we can like announce where we're at, even though he just kind of did, you know, I could say on final leg, but I definitely want to get this autopilot off. So now I'm in control of the airplane. I want to get this guy. So we're going to like on final leg. So I want to turn a little bit. So we still have some time to line up. So but I can just see, I can see the airport. I don't know if you guys can see that red dot. And the fact that we have the red and white, I can kind of tell up there, that kind of means we're on the right path. You know, we don't want to lose too much altitude just yet, but we do kind of want to slow down. So I'm going to cut the throttle back a little bit. And then I'm going to, once it gets down and starts slowing down, yeah, see, there we are. So we're kind of lined up pretty well. I think we're off to the right a little bit, which is why I was turning before. So now we're slowing way down. We kind of have not enough throttle. We might probably slowing down a bit too much this early. But I'm going to put on 10 degrees of flap. It's alright, we're trading some speed. Now there's looks like just all white, which means we're too low. So I don't see that reddish hint. Or I mean too high, I'm sorry. If you get too red and too white, that's good. And we definitely want to be over this way a little bit more. Yeah, see how we got a red and a white? So we're getting, again, I don't know if you can see that reddish hue turning. But I'm just really trying to get straight on the runway as I approach this. Yep, so now we got two reds. We're dropping a little bit. You know, we don't want to drop as much. Let's get my engines turned up a little bit. See, I can see red and white ahead, and that's kind of good. And the runway looks like it's pretty much straight ahead of me. Might have to make some other little adjustments, but just kind of want to keep that, you know, red and white. That means you're on the glide slope that they recommend. You can come in at a different one. Looks like I'm getting off to the right again. It might be a little bit of a wind that way. Now it looks like I might have three reds. There, so I increased my throttle a little bit. I only have one, so I might be a little bit high. When I get, I'm really off to the.
500.
He's calling out 500 feet. And let's make sure we're at full flaps. So you want to come in full flaps for landing on almost any plane. Let's say we're a little bit high. Let's cut the throttle back because we're a little bit fast. It's a short runway.
Minimums.
Yeah, minimums. I don't know what that means, but he tells me that every time I approach a runway. So we're coming in kind of fast. There's our reds. That means we're getting back. Now we're back on the glide slope. We're going to feather it up.
50. 40.
You really don't want to come in too fast. Better off.
20. 10.
Too hard. Minor damage. Yeah, I knew that. Alright, let's hit the brakes. Yeah, just at the end there, I don't know. I'm not very good at this game. But you know what? I made it onto the ground, and that was half the point. So, I'm not sure where we even go, but to be honest, what we can do with this game is just sort of stop wherever you're at. I want to put on the parking brake, which is control period. Then I'm going to hit control shift F1. It's going to shut down the plane. And if you notice that message up there, it says recommend shutting down flight simulator between all the jobs so that it can restart it from scratch and make sure everything loads well. So there we go. We made it to Findlay, Ohio with our cosmetics, I think. And what I'm going to do is hit the escape button. Sometimes I get my mouse, sometimes I don't. I'm just going to hit enter. Boom. So I'll finish closing flight simulator. Yes. I can just shrink this down out of the way while we talk about this. So it's saying ready, and then you want to click this unload. And since we're at the place we want to be, we're going to unload those cosmetics. Job completed. And click OK. And finish flight monitoring. It brings this up. So I'm going to come down here and just see how much damage I actually did. 6. Well, my record was 96, so I guess that wasn't too bad. But okay, finish flight monitoring. And then there we go. So if it doesn't seem to, yep, there we go. Refresh, and that job is now gone. So I see Robert hasn't left yet, or at least it doesn't look like he has. Now, one thing to note is it's now 8:15. So I sped up like 4 times through that trip. So it's been about an hour in real life to take that 3 or 4 hour trip. But let's go over to company information, fleet, cargo, well, caravan. See how it says 94? So if I hit repair, it cost me $38,000 to fix that. So basically, I made no money just because of that landing. Now, I'm hoping that my pilots that I hire will do better than I do, because I have not made the company any money, not by a stretch. So if we go back to this cargo, then the next challenge with this will be, where the heck are we? We are here, Sawhead. So we have a trip from KFDY to take that could go to, good Lord, R51. So where is that? I think that's, let me come back up to here. Click on KFDY. So see, we have 2 possible trips. One to R51, which is all the way down there. We definitely could fit that one. But the cigarettes would pay a lot more. And again, you always want to look and make sure. Yeah, see, you got an asphalt runway. This plane could probably get away with a fairly long grass runway. To give you an idea, we just came in on a runway, what was it? 36? Where's 36 was 2,000. So if we went to this other airport, it's only going to be 1,000. That's not a long runway. How about this guy? Cabbages. And that's asphalt as well. So but this one's the better paying. And the way I land airplanes, the better paying is usually going to be the deal. Yeah, I just need more practice. So what is that saying? Pottstown. Pottstown's near me in Pennsylvania, if it's the same one. Which would be good, because that'll take us back home. Oh, look, it's a little bit darker shade, isn't it? Yeah, KPTW, yeah. Yeah, Pottstown, Limerick. I mean, they're north of where I live. I live more down towards the southwest side of Philadelphia. South and west, or west and south of the airport. Philadelphia's a little just north of the airport. Yeah, no, that's a good flight for us, because then if we have to just come back to KPHL, that'll be fine. It's like a return flight. So that's kind of a no-brainer to accept that job. All right, so we're going to be flying some cigarettes. Now, if we come here to accepted jobs, now I don't know if that locks it in or something when I accept it. I got 3 days to do it, and that's real life days. That's another thing to mention. This game happens in real life. So let's see if I click on that job. Oh, yeah, once I accept the job, I can see more easily. Oh, yeah, look at that. What is that purple line? Huh, I don't know what that purple line stands for. Let's see what our dude is doing. Position to CKL, so CYKL in Learjet. So is he still at the Philadelphia airport, or is he? Yeah, I don't know what's taking him so long to get going. I'm not getting any kind of warning. But like I said, I'm just learning it. And I thought I'd show you guys it because I thought it was kind of, you know, if it's something that you might be interested in, it can be kind of boring in the sense of flying from one area to the other. You really didn't miss much in that part that I cut out of the video. A couple switches from one control tower to another one. And, you know, away we go. So again, I think I came in too fast on that landing, which is why I did that, but I caused damage. I had to pay for it. I need to really learn. I mean, people talk about you don't even have to fly the planes. You could just coordinate the jobs, and it actually happens in real time. I mean, it was, you know, this was like 48 hours to build this base. So that's Windsor, which is right near Detroit here, saying this is where we'll build a base, hopefully. That's a pretty detailed map. I mean, you could definitely fly over the street. Don't expect your house to be there, but there's Windsor. I figure that probably should pick up a fair amount of traffic and jobs. I'm not sure how they all work, but I hope you enjoyed this look at it anyway. I think it's pretty cool. A lot more for me to learn about it and look. And if you don't get quite so many farm sim episodes, this will be a partial reason for it. Pretty time consuming, but I figure if you have the patience to sit there on a tractor, this might be for you too. All right, well, with that, I'm going to sign off. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.